Hey, this is Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com's DevOps TV here at IBM InterConnect 2017. And we're here with Mike Filosa of GitHub. Mike, welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
So Mike, a lot of people, maybe who aren't in the know, say, GitHub, what are you guys doing at IBM InterConnect? What are you doing here?
So we have two sort of relationships with IBM. One is a partnership on their Bluemix platform. So developers who are using Bluemix, either public Bluemix or private Bluemix, they can use and leverage GitHub Enterprise.
Great.
Within that. They can also publish code to GitHub.com and deploy that into the Bluemix platform.
That's
so
nice.
that's sort of the business partnership we have. And IBM is also one of our largest customers as well for GitHub Enterprise. So a large percentage of the developers at IBM leverage GitHub Enterprise for their day-to-day development.
Wow.
So those two things bring us here.
I don't know if you would know, but how many IBM developers are there that are using GitHub Enterprise?
Tens of thousands.
Really?
Yeah, there's probably somewhere between 100 and 300,000 developers, I suspect, at IBM that use various different platforms. But I know our instance of GitHub Enterprise is the largest deployment of any other customer. Yeah.
Wow. So IBM's own internal use of GitHub Enterprise is the largest GitHub Enterprise.
That's right. Yep.
It makes sense, though, when you think about it. Who has more developers than IBM?
Exactly, right.
Excellent. So Mike, you guys are here as a business partner as well as a vendor, I guess is the bottom line. But, of course, GitHub, I happened to do a panel this morning, and I was lucky enough to have one of the folks from GitHub on my panel with me. And I forgot the number, he said, but how many pages are there in GitHub these days? People have pages up.
Well, there's 40 million repositories.
Right.
So I don't know exactly how many pages there are, but there's about 40 million repositories, approaching 20 million users on the platform.
I think you said about 18.
Yeah, so that number changes daily, but it's somewhere approaching 20 million.
That's an amazing,
huge
amazing amount of community. And that is an important word too, community.
Yep.
We were talking on our panel about, it's called DevOps, It Takes a Village, and the idea of what role culture plays in facilitating DevOps transformation, and this idea of you need a culture that somehow is forming a community. And GitHub is a company that has really built a community, right?
And the community, I mean, it's obviously the movement of open source, right? And the new way of building software that open source really pioneered. And the interesting thing is that enterprises like IBM are now starting to recognize that is a more efficient, better way of building software, having people involved in the process, having people opening up pull requests and commenting and discussing these specific features they're trying to work on, that they want to bring inside their organization. Yep. And that's why we're here to talk about that with the customers.
And to be fair, and look, I've been using open source for a long time myself, and in my years in the security business, we big open source. There are some things that really lend itself to just not using open source, right? And Git has been one of these kind of pioneering companies that, though they're based on an open source platform, let's call it, have recognized that there are some people who don't want to use it in an open source manner.
Right.
And the GitHub Enterprise type of product. And then I know IBM, I believe last year they had announced sort of a hosted version of Git.
Yep. Yeah, and that's really where our GitHub for Business product offering, which we recently announced, would allow a business to come on to GitHub.com and leverage private repositories. We now have service level agreements around that, which is something we haven't had in the past for those businesses that want to have.
So it's called GitHub for Business?
GitHub for Business, correct.
And let's be clear, it's that same open source core. I don't want to use the word core because that has other inclinations in open source, right? But it's that same open source gist that GitHub was about, except in a not private label, but private version.
It's a private repository, right? So you would create your own organization within GitHub.com that only you and your employees would have access to. But all the workflows that made open source popular would be available in the platform. So pull requests, issues, obviously Git.
What about security for it, though?
So that is one of the additional features in GitHub for Business, is the ability to offload authentication to a SAML provider. So you can allow your administrators to control access and relate their GitHub.com profile to your organization. So they can still use their GitHub handle, the GitHub profile, but in order to gain access to your organization's content, they need to authenticate against a SAML provider.
Excellent. So Mike, with such a big community, it's like, so it's easy. It's easy to have a community when you got maybe a couple of thousand folks, right? And a good chunk of them kind of know each other
Right.
almost. When you get to a community of 20 million, that's not a community, dude. That's a city, right? Or a town,
Or maybe a country.
or a country, right? How do you maintain that sense of community when you're talking at a scale like that?
Yeah, so I'm not part of this team at GitHub, but we have a whole community team that is their primary focus to manage the community, to engage the community, to attend every open source conference like OSCON, for example, where I was at every year, and just be part of that. Really be part of the community, right? We have many developers at the company who are contributors to open source, and that's encouraged at GitHub. So that kind of connects us within the community that way.
Yep.
We have our own open source projects, like the Atom project is an open source text editor that's quite popular. Electron is another. So we have all of these open source things that we contribute to, including Git. That gets us in the community, keeps us in the community, and then we have a team at GitHub that just manages those relationships.
So, Mike, what's your impression been here at InterConnect? Beyond the IBM people who know you and use you,
right?
What about the guy walking the exhibit floor here today?
It's really interesting. I love coming to these conferences because there's a lot of sort of, I would say, traditional development practices discussed here, especially mainframe development, things that are sort of foreign to a lot of people that use GitHub every day. I have some experience with that, so I love to talk to somebody who maybe has never used Git before and talk about a new, more modern approach and the workflows that Git makes possible. They're just not used to in the mainframe world. So I've attended a couple of meetings this week where it's mostly been mainframe developers, and they're talking about how they want to move into distributed version control, and it's an interesting conversation. It's a very different world.
But you know what? We've had a few Z Systems people here. Actually, some of them have mentioned Git for I think Linux for Z Systems or something like that. And you know what? So I've been doing this a while, and it used to be we talked about the mainframe guys or the mainframe folks like they were on the spectrum or something. Everyone else is running real fast. These guys are running as fast as they can.
Right.
But that's not really true. There's no reason they can't leverage a Git or some of these other tools. I saw a guy today doing. Spoke here earlier about urban code for COBOL. Right, delivering COBOL applications for the Z system mainframe using urban code and Jenkins and these kinds of things. So it is the opportunities there for them as well. It seems, and it's good to see companies like Git, making that available to them, or at least trying to. Right, there are challenges.
Definitely, yeah, and we've had a lot of our users of GitHub Enterprise are at this event, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of users that come up and talk to us saying, we're so glad GitHub's at IBM as a product at IBM so they can use that.
Right.
Even though they have a long heritage in version control, it's nice to hear that they want to use our product in that place. So
well, Git's done a great job with that.
Yep.
And so rightfully so. I would imagine they would want to use that. Because at the end of the day, it's like when smartphones came out, originally, like with the iPhone and the Androids came out, you didn't have a lot of people raising their hand and saying, I want to use my old Windows phone, or I want to use my old flip phone, or what have you. So that's the way it is. But anyway, Mike, I want to stop you for thanking by. Thank you for stopping by today and with us here on DevOps TV. Keep us posted with Git. You guys are doing a great job here, and I would imagine most people watching this video on DevOps.com probably already have a Git page or a part of your community. But you guys are doing great, man. Keep it up.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. This is Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com, DevOps TV at InterConnect 2017.